Aloha everyone, we are back. Happy Halloween. It's officially October 31st, the very last night of 13 Nights of Tiki Frights. We're super excited to talk to Faust tonight. We figured Halloween, there's only one artist we can talk to, it's got to be Faust. We're going to let him join into this chat here, and then we're going to see if we can add him in. Thank you all for tuning in over the past, 12 nights. This is the 13th. It means a huge deal to us. There he is.
What's up?
How's it going, man?
Good, awesome.
Happy
Good
Halloween.
to be on here. Thanks for having me. Happy Halloween to everybody out there.
Definitely. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
It's the best time of the year.
I got the Tiki Mason jar. I guess I'm not as cool as everybody.
That is okay. You can drink in anything, dude. Anything will hold a cocktail, and that's perfectly all right.
Oh, man, I'm going to come out here with a pot of water or something.
That might be a little bit too much. Maybe your tolerance is more than me if you're drinking out of pots.
Right? Exactly. Exactly.
How's it going, dude? How are you celebrating Halloween?
I'm actually at my girlfriend's house tonight. Yeah, I think we've been spending the whole month, like, just, I've been on vacation from work. So we've been kind of just watching old horror movies, going out. We did a few of the haunts, Universal. We just actually did the other night the Nightmare Before Christmas live at Bank of California Stadium.
Okay.
That was really fun.
I saw that was going on. People were posting live streams, and I was jealous.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It's actually our third time doing it, but it was really cool this time. It was a nice switch, different venue. They brought out
the bowl, right?
No, at the Bank of California, that new stadium out in LA. Oh yeah, you're right. It was usually at the Bowl.
Yeah, I haven't been to the new stadium. I've only seen him at the Hollywood Bowl.
It's cool. It's a nice place. But overall, I think people just got used to the Bowl. It was a very traditional place to go watch it.
Yep.
But this time it was fun. They had Billie Eilish come out and do Catherine O'Hara's parts as Sally.
Oh, wild. Who was playing?
She did a great job.
What's his name? The other one.
Jack?
Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman was there. Paul Rubens was there.
Rubens, okay.
And then they had, I don't even know why, they had Weird Al Yankovic.
Well, what was he doing?
Doing one of the voices of the three, because I guess Pee Wee's one of the three, Lock, Shock, and Barrel.
Yeah, yep.
And usually it's Pee Wee Herman, Danny Elfman, and Catherine O'Hara doing those three voices, as they did in the movie. But Catherine O'Hara, for some reason or another, couldn't attend, so they had.
So they brought in Weird Al.
So they brought in Weird Al to do her parts with Lock, Shock, and Barrel as the witch, and then Billie did her voice as Sally singing, and she did an amazing job. I was not disappointed at all. It was a fun night. It was a great night.
I would love to have seen that. Is it recorded at all? The Billie Eilish part? Was it recorded at all?
You probably see a lot of it online. People were posting like crazy. They usually don't record the whole. Performance, but I mean, everybody had their cell phones out, so I'm sure Rolling Stone and all these media people up front were probably posting all the stuff, high quality video,
I saw Tiki Maniacs just joined. I have to say, right now there are some auctions on eBay for some mugs. Tiki Maniacs that you, I believe, vandalized.
The Taboo Planet ones. Those are fun. Those are very fun to do. So
if anyone's looking for a Faust mug, eBay right now.
eBay.
And within the next hour.
Oh, are they going to sell tonight?
I think so.
Oh.
Halloween
so they don't stay on that long. Usually, most eBay things run for 6 days. 24 hours.
I think they may have listed it a week ago. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I did see them on there. There's 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And, so here's a chance to get some Faust mugs. All right, but you said you went, you saw Danny Elfman, you did Halloween Horror Nights. I wanted to go this year. It didn't pan out for me. Did you get to experience The Haunting of Hill House?
We did the VIP, which they call the RIP tour. A bit pricey, but it's so much more worth it, man. I mean, than standing in those lines for 2 hours. So with the Rest in Peace tour, which is their form of VIP, you get in early, you get valet parking, you get a banquet buffet, you get a personal tour guide, takes you around, like literally loads you onto a shuttle bus and takes you down to the lower lot, walks you to every maze. So we didn't have to wait in lines at all that whole night. It was just we hit everything, boom, 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 you know. And
Oh
yeah,
man.
Haunting of Hill House was great. The two best ones were probably The Exorcist and oh, Leatherface was one of the good ones.
Okay.
Oh,
Are you a
Halloween.
harsh critic?
No, I mean, I get really easily impressed with like some of the indie mazes that pop up, all over town.
Yeah.
Some
Okay.
martial arts dojo, a bunch of kids will decide to do their own maze, and I'll actually get impressed with a lot of these mazes. But it was I've gone to most of these, and it's always really cool to see what they come up with.
Was it a different experience this year because of COVID? Like, did they have like panels and was it
They had
less
people
in
wearing
your
the
face?
masks and stuff, but if anything, I think it was more a breath of fresh air to get back
Yeah.
to everything people had been missing for so long. So the more the excitement was built up from everybody being able to go back and do all the things that we didn't get to do last year. Last year was just depressing. Everything that was scheduled was getting canceled as quick as it was scheduled. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, we
I mean,
got
it wasn't
tickets
even really
to
trick or treating. There were people who set up like chutes. I can remember like plastic
right.
PVC pipes from their roof so that they
Yeah,
could
people.
like send candy. I mean, people were doing crazy, ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, people in my neighborhood don't trick or treat much. I live in Uptown Whittier, and like
Okay.
certain areas, I don't know. I think they just kind of stay in, or they'll take off to other parts of town. It's a dark, old, creepy town.
You would think that's where you would go trick or treating.
It's a historical area. They do a lot of filming movies up here, and it's got that ambiance. So yeah, we'd be outside and looking down the street, and it's like no trick or treaters this year. Too scary.
Turn the light on. You hear a knock. You go to open the door, and there's no one there. Just
Yeah,
another Faust Halloween.
right, right. But hey, if you got the reruns of the horror classics, you got the candy, you got some drinks going. You make your own
That's all you
Halloween, right?
need. Yep.
Right.
Some of those are the best Halloweens.
Yeah.
So what got you into? Obviously, you're into Halloween, the creepy.
My mother was a big horror fan. I mean, is a big horror fan, and she used to take us as kids to the drive-in a lot to watch horror movies. I mean, we didn't choose the horror movies. She wanted to see a movie, and she would always take us in a van. She would always take us in this van, and she had one of those like passenger vans with all the seat rows in the back on it. And I
Okay, is this like
remember,
a creepy like white van?
yeah, like the Candyman child molester. Hey kid, you want some candy? And she used to take us, and I remember watching these horror movies. I was just a little kid. I was like 7, 8, and I remember I would always put my feet up on the chair because I felt like something was going to grab me from underneath the seat, and and I would keep my feet up throughout the entire movie, and my feet are like cramping up. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to put my feet down, but I wouldn't because I was afraid. So by the time the movie was over, we're driving out of the drive-in. I'm putting my feet down, and I feel like a 90-year-old man. I'm just like, oh, they're all falling asleep. But yeah, I grew up and I just loved horror. It's always been a thing for me. Horror, comic books. I mean, obviously, I'm a big fan of Disney. The art, the aspect of it,
Yep.
and it's just pretty much pop culture.
Have
You
you reached
know.
the threshold where you don't really get scared anymore?
No, actually, there's been a lot of great movies that have scared me lately. That I'm like, hey, finally people are taking it to a different direction. And kind of, James Wan is amazing. The guy who does The Conjuring and Insidious and all those movies.
Yep.
I think he has a vision for kind of creating that claustrophobic vibe in his movies. But a lot of these other indie movies, and even movies from Asian movies, they're just creepy as heck.
Oh,
And
dude. Some of the East Coast stuff, East World stuff. Oh my God,
no, I mean a lot of the movies we
unbelievable.
have, like The Grudge, The Ring, like all those movies were over there first, and
Yeah.
then they remade them over here, and people thought, oh, this new movie called The Ring, and I'm like, I saw that movie years ago. I used to go to this place in a local area where a lot of collectors go, and there was these guys that had all these DVDs from Japan, Korea, and they were burned copies, but they would always turn me on to new stuff. And they were like, "Oh, check out this movie called The Ring." It was called Ring You, and he's like, "Check it out. It's coming out in the United States in a year and a half or something." So I'd be watching it and just freaking out, and then fast forward a year later, I see the trailer at the theater for our version, and it's like, saw it.
The Ring
But,
terrified me. I can remember, so I was pretty young when that came out, and we had a local movie rental store. I think it was called Rocky's Movie Rental. And
right.
so we rented the Ring. We all sat down and watched it, and then they had these displays. And once the movie, fell out of popularity, they would sell the displays. So I went in one day, and they had the girl from The Ring as like a cardboard cutout. And I was like, yes. I grabbed it home, brought it home, and I put it in the shower. Closed the curtain, waited for my brother to go in, and I just heard this like blood-curdling screech when he opened the curtain and saw the girl from The Ring.
But it's funny how they put so much effort into scaring people over here in the States with these characters they come up with that are like big, muscle-bound characters that tear people apart, and they're trying to win people over with fear on those. But then in Japan, all they do is get a girl and comb her hair over her face. It's like everybody's freaking out over that.
Terrifying.
It's
they don't even
so
have to
much
do
more
anything.
intimidating.
Just stand there.
Yeah.
Just stand there and don't do anything, and I'm going to be creeped out.
Stand there, move slow. I think they got that thing where they look like zombies when they walk, and you hear like their bones breaking as they're walking.
Yep.
And I'm like, that alone is far more intimidating than some of these killers they're coming out with in the States over here. They're trying hard to redo Jason, a character of that caliber, and it's like, no, man, they got you beat over there with just a little Asian girl with her hair combed over her face coming out of a television.
Sad but true. Sad but true. What have you been watching lately? What's come out lately that you've been?
Lately, what did I finish watching? The last thing I saw was like Them, that one that was pretty creepy with about the black family that moves into the white neighborhood, and they're
Was that the one with the scissors in the logo? They were all wearing
no, you're thinking of that movie Us. I know. I kind of thought the two were connected, but it was a cable movie, and it was really, really good. I mean, they had they had some really cool characters in there. I binged that one real quick, and lately, God, I don't know. I haven't really done like American Horror Story or anything. I don't know. Bunch of different movies.
On Netflix was pretty good.
Was it? I saw it, but I didn't click on it yet.
I wouldn't say it's scary. It's not terribly scary, but I found it interesting. I'm still waiting for. I think it's in The Conjuring 2. I don't remember his name, but the really tall, skinny dude. The kid sends the fire truck into the tent, and then it turns on or something.
Yeah,
that's the one I'm still waiting on.
They're coming out with some good ones. There's a movie that I got to see several months ago because I got to go one of those those advanced screenings. But there was a movie called The Black Phone.
Okay.
That Ethan Hawke's in. And it's creepy. It's creepy. I'm not going to say anything about it. It's from Blumhouse.
When does it come out?
It's going to be coming out, I think, soon, like in a few weeks, if it's not out already. But Ethan Hawke's in it. Plays a great role. Takes place, I think, in the 80s or so, but it's so good. And, when I left the theater after I watched that early screening, I was like, when's this coming out? I'm sorry?
You were lifting your feet up because you were afraid something was going to grab you and punch you in the chair?
I don't do that in the theater. But if you put me in a van, I'll do it. Oh.
Surfside Sips was saying it was called Slender Man, so maybe it was Slender Man that I was talking about. Also, Tiki Maniac says there's only one Faust auction left, and it
Oh,
ends
wow.
in 7 minutes.
The rest are gone, huh?
There you go. Yep. Yeah,
I was going to jump on there right now.
only one remains.
I was going to jump in there and buy my own mug. That's
So,
cool, though. I'm
dude,
glad they
how
went
did
well.
you? Obviously, you've been drawing a long time, I assume. Were you drawing pretty much at the same time you were watching horror movies?
Yeah, I mean, I've been drawing since I was in diapers. You know, as soon as I figured out what a crayon could do, I was just like, my dad's an artist.
Okay.
He's a really accomplished painter. He does a lot of amazing work on canvas. So naturally, he has three boys, and all his kids just, you know, we always mock what our parents do. But the thing is, like, I've been drawing since I was a kid. Just never stopped. I used to get in trouble in school, turning the paper over during class,
One of
the
those
assignment
kids.
sheet, and you start drawing in the back when the teacher's not looking. And I remember she used to talk to my dad, like when we would have, parent conference meetings, and she would always tell my dad, I can't get Jerry to focus on his classwork, and my dad would kind of give me that look, like, oh, he's always drawing, and he kind of had to put on that face, like, give me the shake of the finger. But he told me later, he was like, I was still a proud father, to see my kids were drawing. He loved it. But I mean, he's
There's
got
so many worse things that a kid could be doing in school
right,
than doodling
exactly.
on their paperwork.
So yeah, so it pretty much became like, it's like an OCD. Like, you just don't know when not to draw. You're just always drawing, always drawing. Eventually, you just try to take it to that next level and get better at what you're doing. And with me, I think, I started doing stuff on bigger paper, eventually going to illustration board. I started to do art shows at galleries. A couple of friends were like, you got to go even bigger. And I'm like, if I go bigger, I got to start working on canvas art. And he's like looking at me like, so what's your point? Like, what's keeping you? So I started working on canvas, working with paint. And I think the thing with working on statues and stuff, that just came from walking into like secondhand stores. And, you see a piggy bank or a doll or something that you kind of see potential to do something with it. And, I would start taking a baby doll and turning it into Pennywise or a girl doll and
Going
turning her
back to the
into,
horror things.
yeah, turning it into The Exorcist or even, musicians that I look up to, you know. But eventually Tiki came into play. And I'm like, hey, I want to mess with one of these. And I remember the first time I did, I actually, I went really early to Disneyland Hotel when they released the Tiki mug for the Hitchhiking Ghosts.
Okay.
And I knew nothing. I still know nothing of the Tiki culture. I mean, I'm always learning as I go. I've met so many amazing people doing this. But I knew nothing at the time. And I, woke up like 6, 7 in the morning. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go get that mug. It's coming out today at Trader Sam's. And I get there thinking I'm going to walk right up to the cash register and buy one. I park my car, and there's a freaking line wrapped around Disneyland Hotel. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So I had to stand in line and wait about 2-3 hours to get my mug. And while I was standing in line, this guy was showing me a picture of what the mug looked like on his phone. And I was like, yeah, I was telling him, I really think it's cool, but I like the sculpt. I just don't really care too much for the paint job. I might repaint it. And when I said that, it was like, I think I saw 5 or 6 people turn around and look at me like I spoke blasphemy. And I'm like, well, what's the problem? And they're like, you're going to do what? I'm all, I want to repaint it. I want to make it look cooler. And they're like, oh, wow, really? Do you follow this, this page of Tiki collectors and stuff? And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh yeah, you should join. So she directed me where to sign up. And then she goes, when you're done painting that mug, post it. We want to see what you did with it. But she, I don't know if she said it in a kind of a sarcastic way. Like, you're gonna screw up your mug. And I did.
Well,
I
they
did.
probably realized, what they're worth, what they were going for.
Right. I didn't
So
see
then
it
you
that
hear
way.
all these people, you're around all these people, and you're like, you wanna paint it, and they're gonna be like, okay,
Yeah.
like,
So I didn't really see it that way. I just saw it as, I want to paint it, make it look cooler, basically kind of following the rhythm of all the other stuff I had been messing with. And when I painted it, it looked really cool, decent, and I posted a photo of it on that page, and I got a big response. And then, eventually I kind of started getting these messages of someone saying, "Hey, can you do that to my mug?" And I'm like, "What? I thought this was a taboo."
yep.
But yeah, it's taken off over the years. It's been fun. I mean, they keep challenging me with some really cool mugs. Every time I think, oh, that's the limit of how good or how complex a tiki mug could get, somebody else releases another mug, and I'm like, wow, it
Stuff is
looks so
wild,
much
and
more
Tim Wohlweber,
detailed.
who sculpts all those Disney mugs, is like on his A game. That gargoyle that came out this year is
Right, the
nuts.
gargoyle. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a friend, Jovan. If you're watching, thank you. He got me one, and I didn't get to go to wait in line that time.
Yep.
And he messaged me and said, "Hey, I got your back," and he hooked me up one. But I was like,
Wow, that's
"Thank
awesome.
you, brother." Yeah, it was awesome. So I have one of that one. Usually, I don't keep my mugs. Like if I have tiki mugs, I'll usually mess with them, paint them, post them, and then somebody will take it before I even really get a chance to grow attached to keeping it. But that
Yep.
mug, I'm not going to get rid of. The gargoyle is mine.
That's gonna be the one.
Uh,
When did you So I know you like Disney, you like horror. When did you first ride the Haunted Mansion?
when did I first ride the Haunted Mansion? I must have been in diapers. I don't know. A long time ago.
So you've lived
I've
in
always,
California pretty much your whole life.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We're 20 minutes from Disneyland. We have annual passes nonstop for year after year. Once the pandemic started and they started refunding everybody for their passes, now's the time that I haven't had them.
Yep.
But for the most
That's
part,
the case
yeah,
for many
I
people.
always had them. Always had them. It sucks, it sucks the way things are going right now, but hopefully things get back to normal soon.
Yeah.
Some sense of normalcy.
What's your opinion on, obviously you were at Nightmare Before Christmas, Danny Elfman, so you got to be a Nightmare fan. What's your
Yeah.
opinion of the overlay?
Oh, you mean the thing they do for the holidays?
Yeah, for the Haunted
I
Mansion.
like it. I like it. I think it's a cool switch. I mean, it's only what 3-4 months out of the year. How long does it do that? September, October, about
Uh,
3-4 months.
yeah, I think they do it just before Halloween, right? And it goes through the end of Christmas, so 4 or 5 months maybe.
Yeah, and people are always going to complain. I mean, if they do
Yeah.
it, they say they don't want it. If they stop doing it, people will cry, say bring it back. So
Yep.
Disney's like damned if they do, damned if they don't.
I
That's the way.
I enjoyed it. I didn't realize that they continued to add to it because it had been a few years since I went, and then I went recently, and they had added like all kinds of new stuff. So it's like
They're getting
every
very
year it gets a little bit better.
digital, like with all these especially like those dark rides.
Yep.
Everything's all projected now and high tech. I think they're trying to match up the other new Disney parks that are opening around the world. Those already open up with the high tech rides, so they're like, okay, we got to update Anaheim. What
You
they
got to
need to
stay
update is
at the forefront.
Universal Studios needs to update that shark. That thing's so outdated. It's so bad. When we go to Universal Studios and that shark comes out of the water, it looks like a big turd. I'm like, come on, you guys got to do something with this thing.
I have a mixed feeling relationship with Universal. I want to love it so bad, and then sometimes it's just like, man, this is not up to date. This is like from the
Yeah,
70s.
yeah, we love Universal. They're cool.
Speaking of Universal, let's do a giveaway. Let's do a pin giveaway from the Black Lagoon Room.
Cool.
Walt Disney obviously is known for Mickey Mouse. It all started with a mouse. He actually did another character, an animated character, before Mickey Mouse. But because the character, I believe, was owned by Universal, He abandoned it when he made his own company. First person in the comments to write the name of that character that predated Mickey Mouse will take home this pin. And I'll watch the comment. Yeah.
Hello,
So
Father, my son. My son just said, hello, Father. Luke.
Your
Son,
son submitted a question.
He asked the question?
He asked a question through the Search for Tiki Ask Faust story.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What's the question?
So I'm curious. How is art passed around your family?
How is art passed around the family? The actual artwork or just the talent?
I'm not sure. Ask your son.
Because he's always trying to score some of my stuff that I have, my collectibles. Hey, can I have that? Hey, can I have that? So I don't know if he's asking about the skills or actually trying to score something off of me.
Probably the actual stuff.
The actual stuff. Shoot, I've done so much artwork for people, but I mean, my kids, they get pretty much everything as far as what I create. Yeah, you want that? All right, here.
You don't make them wait?
Sometimes, some stuff is in display cases, and I'm like, when I'm dead, this is all yours. And then they'll start fighting over it already as if I'm going to die tomorrow.
Yeah, see, we're too young, but I can remember going to my grandmother's, and towards the end, you would go to anything in the house, and if you lifted it up, there'd be like a name on the bottom of it and a sticker because she didn't want people fighting over her stuff. When she passed.
Wow. Did that work out?
I don't know.
Did you get anything?
I'm a grandchild, so
I see.
She had like 13 kids, biological kids, and they all had grandkids. So you know, I wasn't a huge contender, but that's okay.
You're a runner-up.
We had someone guess the correct answer for the pin, the Black Lagoon Room. Walt Disney, before he created Mickey Mouse, created Oswald
the Lucky Rabbit.
First person to show up that got it correct was username Chris.Gott, Gott.79. So congratulations.
Congrats, Chris.
All right, so dude, the mugs, painting the mugs. What's the process? How do you do it?
A lot of patience and minimal swear words when I mess up. I don't know. You know, like I've been really fortunate with a lot of the people I've worked with. They give me total control, you know, quote unquote. Yep. You know, I see it, and when they send me pictures, and I'm like, okay, you know, I could figure out something with that. But a lot of times, I don't know what I'm doing. I just go, and as I'm painting and putting a new color, I'll either have something kind of worked out, or as I'm painting it and I look at the shade, the tone, it kind of takes it into a different direction, a different vibe.
Okay.
But ultimately, in the end, it's like, I think 9 out of 10. I'll be modest. 9 out of 10 times it looks all right, you know. And you know, I'll send them photos.
Any that look awful, dude. Unless you're
like there's times where I'm like, does this look okay? I'm like, yeah, it looks good. And then I'll take a few snapshots and I'll show it to them, and they'll be like, yes, you know. That's I'm like, all right. Hey, I'm not gonna argue. But yeah, for the most part, it's just a real, just kind of chipping away at it little by little. I definitely like it.
On the really like glossy mugs, is there anything you have to do to like prepare them for paint?
Primer them. Yeah. I've had a few people who tell me, you know, hey, you know, would it be easier if I send you this version of the mug, which is like, you know, a different color? Would that be easier to paint over? And I'm like, no, like it doesn't matter. You could send it to me pale white or jet black. Either way, it's going to get primered. I mean, because I can't do nothing if it's glazed without primering it first.
Yep.
So yeah, that's just working it down primer wise, getting that first light base coat, and then once I get that down, then it's just like, you know, hitting it with the paintbrushes as to what the actual colors are going to be. You know, it's
a testament to your ability that so many people are willing to like send you a mug without instructions, and they're just like, do your thing.
Yeah, you know? And I'm grateful.
all the mugs that you have vandalized in the past, and they love them, so they know we send a mug to Faust, he's going to do something killer with it. And it's
Yeah,
almost kind of fun, like not
I'm
giving
thankful. I'm so
instructions.
thankful for that. Yeah, it kind of throws me off when, like some people have a few suggestions here and there, and they're always appreciated. But when they just kind of tell me what they're into or what they kind of hope for the mug to be like or the vibe they want to get off of it, that to me is like all I'll go off of. You know, somebody will say, "Hey, I want it to look like Stone," or somebody will say, "Hey, I love the Lakers." All right, purple and gold. Um, but for the most part, yeah, I just go nuts and just see what comes out of it. I mean, ultimately, in the end, it's all you could say is it's just paint.
Yep.
If it doesn't look good, try another color.
So you can just paint right over it?
I can. I mean, if it's not too dark of a color, I could go right over it, or if it's too dark of a color, I could whiten it up, go on it again. I stick to acrylics just because they're water based and they won't ruin the detail. I've seen other mugs that have gotten repainted. I'm not saying names, but they've gotten repainted, and it seems like they don't even take advantage of the sculpt. The sculpt itself. That's your guide right there.
Yep.
And there's so many great artists out there that I've been grateful enough to work on their mugs, and I always respect the sculpt first. So if I start to paint that first base coat, I want to make sure all the details of the sculpt are still there before I start throwing my colors over it.
Yep.
Because if the foundation is the sculpt, regardless of what you do to it paint-wise, if the sculpt doesn't look good, neither is the vandalism.
Is there a particular kind of mug or a particular artist that like you really love vandalizing their stuff?
I can't keep up with everybody. I mean, I know Thor's done a lot of great stuff. I've worked on all the Disney ones that have come out. I don't know. I was really fond of the one that the Lost Temple traders put out, the Witch Doctor. And I got some stories.
Kaduko, and
I
you
got
did
some
like
stories with
was it a
David
run of
about that
12s?
one.
You did a bunch of those.
I did a bunch, but I was like, I was working on that project for so long that I was cracking jokes with them that that mug's haunted. because as I was like working on so many of them, they're right there in my work area, and it's like one after another, the face on that mug getting painted was just like playing with my head, and I was trying to get them done, and I think at some points throughout the duration of the project, it's like I almost felt like I was taking longer than I should on one mug, almost like it was slowing me down. And I was like, man, this mug is like,
you would think
this
the
is
opposite
possessed.
would happen, that you would get faster.
I would go on forever. I'm like, okay, I could probably finish this one in a couple hours. There's not that much left on it. Like 4 hours later, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? It's an episode of The Twilight Zone.
I love that mug though. For someone that just kind of like goes with the sculpt and kind of paints it, as you go without necessarily planning it out to a T. Is it weird to then do a run of 12 mugs that look pretty much the same? Is that like...
It can be. It can be like, you mean like the repetitiveness, right?
Yeah. Is it like not fun?
It can be, but I think when you get that first artist proof done, the one that you send to them and say, hey, is this, is this what you want? You base all the other ones off that mug. So even though you may not, do the second one and it doesn't come out as the first one did, later on you'll kind of catch yourself and you'll come back to it because you want them all to look like that first one.
Yeah.
So I'll do that first mug. It gets approved to do all the rest of them, and then when I'm slowly finishing them all off, I tend to kind of go back to those first ones and be like, okay, does this look like that?
Look the same. It's like
gotta be a carbon copy of that
where
one.
The one at the end is like totally different.
And ultimately in the end, when you put them all next to each other, it's like cool. I want them to look like Xerox copies of each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always that uniqueness. You know, each one has the little things here and there that you could tell that what's different from the other one. Of course, I won't point it out.
Now I'm gonna be looking. I'm gonna pull out photos.
It's
So I
like,
can only
hey, this
post one of them
eyeball
at a
is a
time. No one will pick
fraction
up
of an
on it.
inch. Right. Yeah. This eyeball's slightly bigger than that one. Yeah. You know, you kind of catch all the little things, and it's like, okay, for the most part, they're all identical, and that's it. It's fun.
I think that particular mug, though, is a perfect example of you vandalizing a mug because the sculpt is amazing, the design is amazing, the glaze
Yeah.
on the original mugs is it's a simple glaze. There's nothing
Yeah.
complicated about it. And then you come in, you overhaul the entire mug, and it just pops. And it shows all
Yeah.
the potential of that sculpt.
Thank you.
I love it.
I always like, you know, to post a picture of what the mug looked like before,
Yep.
even though, I mean, for all the tiki collectors, they obviously already know what the mug looks like, but, you know, like there's people on my page who aren't, you know, part of the tiki culture. So I'll always post a picture of what the mug looked like before, but it's not to invalidate the sculpt or the mug itself. It's just to show, hey, this is what the stock version looked like as
Yep.
opposed to what I did to it. And yeah, a lot of people would be like, you know, wow, the original looks good too, but you know, you took it in a different direction. And like I say, it's like if the sculpt doesn't look good, the vandalism isn't either. And these mugs that come out, man, I
Something
mean,
you can work with.
like, you know, it's fun to log on to the Facebook, the Instagram's tiki pages and see all these new mugs that are coming out or already dropped, and it's like, wow, I can't wait till somebody has me work on one of those. You know, I don't keep up. I don't know all the time what's coming out.
I see so many comments, like a mug will come out, and almost immediately someone will put in the comment, "Oh, I have to see what Faust does with this."
I think when that the Bride one came out, that recent Bride one came out.
Yeah, from Tiki Land Trading Company.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful mug. I liked it a lot. A lot of people were not so much messaging me, but yeah, you're right. They were tagging me on comments. And I mean, I was just reading the comments for a while because it wasn't like a direct message. It was just like, you know, thinking of sending this to Faust or something.
Yep.
And then I forgot who it was. I think it was like Tiki Don or one of those guys finally like literally said, I'm counting 70 some messages. Can you answer these messages already? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna say something. And yeah, I got a chance to work on a few of those. I still have a few more to work on.
Have you ever
She was
reached a
fun.
limit where you're like, you know what, maybe I don't want to do 300?
You know,
Go
I
see a
haven't had to
bride.
do 300 yet. I mean, if you if you count them from the beginning, I don't know how many I've done so far, but 300 at once, oh God, that'd be a heck of a trip.
Do you have a favorite that you've done so far?
A favorite. I think I had fun with like the I did a Davy Jones and a Jack Sparrow.
Dude, those came out wild.
Yeah, those were fun. Those were fun just because I got challenged on those. You know, they weren't. It wasn't like a tiki idol or a skull or something. It was like actual faces of, you know, people.
Yeah, it's
So
supposed
it's
to be
like,
like realistic.
yeah. So now it's like, okay, now I've just hit a new. I'm on the next level. Now I gotta make this look realistic. You know, I can't just paint them with a flesh tone and call it a day.
Yep.
So the Davy Jones was the Davy Jones was a challenge, and the Jack actually was too. But those were probably my favorite at the end. After I'm done with them, then it's like, okay, these were cool. But when I'm
Did you
first
enjoy it
working
while
on
you were
them,
doing it, or you were like, oh my God,
when I was doing
what
them,
have
I
I
was,
signed myself
yeah,
up for?
exactly. I'm like, oh my God, these are going to be a trip to do. And, you know, you start messing with different flesh tones and highlights. And then when it kind of starts clicking and working, it's like, okay, I like it now, you know? But, you know, that's kind of what's to be expected with all these projects. You
Yeah.
know, don't stay don't stay so repetitive. Keep challenging yourself. Yeah.
Otherwise, it would get boring. So you got to do that. You got to keep challenging yourself. How
Yeah.
much time
Yeah.
does it take you on average? Obviously, one mug is different than another mug, but how much time do you think you spend on average on vandalizing a mug?
A few days. A few days because I like to wait for like, the primer to dry, the first base coat. A lot of times when I do that first light base coat, I'll photograph it and kind of mess around with it on an app on my phone where you could actually digitally paint.
Okay.
So yeah, so if I get a photograph on my phone, and let's say I'm at work, I'll start to mess around with the colors on my phone just to see what they look like together, the color scheme. If it works and I really like it, I'll go with it off based off that little quick doodle. It doesn't always come out the way the doodle does on my phone though. It's like, okay, that looks cool, and then you actually pull out actual paintbrushes, and it doesn't always look the same way, but it still looks better. I think that's the case with everything,
Yeah.
It's never gonna come out like the rough version.
If it can look even remotely like I think that's often the case, right? Like a director who's making a movie, they'll hire the actors, they'll hire the set pieces and the script. And through the course of all this, there's all these changes. And
Hmm.
basically, you just hope that the end result somewhat vaguely resembles the vision that you had in the beginning. And if it
Yeah,
does, then it was a success.
and that's the case with everything. I mean, you look at early sketches for like Disney animations, they don't look the way the final product does. Never. So, I mean, ultimately with a lot of these projects that I do, even though I do a rough version first and the rough looks good, by the time I get done actually painting it, photographing it, and stepping back and looking at it, it's like it looks great on its own. It
Yep.
didn't have to come out this way, and that works a lot better than flying blind and just jumping in there with the paintbrushes and just you
I'm
know
just winging it.
let me throw green and purple and white together and see what it looks like when I'm done. No, yeah,
Just one time, if you can just erase the paint, just do like something totally weird that's bizarre when someone wants their mug and just see if they respond, oh, that's not quite what I expected.
one of these days,
One
one
of
of
these
these
days.
days.
Someone that you know who's a good friend, a reliable client, just send him one really weird mug.
I'm gonna eventually reach those moments. I'm like, you know what? I got this extra mug you gave me, and I put pink polka dots on it.
Yep.
With my
If I
luck,
can
it'll be
put
a
in a
hit.
vote, I say do it to Dave and Josh from Lost Temple Traders
Trick or
because I would
treat.
personally love to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you have like formal training, or is this just
Just years
self-taught?
of yeah, just getting in trouble in school, and just yeah, just I mean, I draw wherever I go. I draw. I'm always drawing, and incorporating paint into it was something I started doing maybe in the last 10 years. Working on canvas art more,
Yep.
actually incorporating acrylic paint. Um, I think that had a lot to do with kind of crossing over onto tikis and statues and stuff like that. Um, is yeah, working on canvas art. Because I mean, before that, it was just ink, pen, color pencils, that type of stuff, and then bringing in acrylic paint obviously opened up doors to start. Okay, well, let me mess around with statues as well as canvas.
Yep.
And that's where it kind of went.
Uh, who was telling me? I was talking to House of Taboo earlier, and he was having mugs made by John Mulder, and John was like, if you can draw, you can sculpt.
Oh yeah,
You
I didn't
do
get
you
that
feel
memo.
the same? Like because you could draw, like painting on a sculpture came naturally, or was it something that you had to work with?
I have sculpted. I have done a few little, knick-knack type stuff. I wouldn't consider myself a sculptor. Um, yes, I mean these tikis that I see, like I said, I can't stress that enough. These tikis that I see come out, I mean, mad respect to the artists that do those. I'm not. I would like to design one.
You
I
got
don't
it, man.
know. I would have
Yeah.
to draw it out, maybe, and then kind of, collaborate with the sculptor. But as far as me getting down and dirty with the clay, I don't know. I don't know if I'm there yet.
You could design one. I would
Design
love
one, yeah.
a Faust Babadook mug.
That would be fun. That would definitely be fun. We got to get a consensus as to who would buy that mug.
The audience may be limited, but it'd be worth it. It'd be worth it. Let's do another giveaway.
Cool.
We got this straw from Surfside Sips. Add class with glass. Surfside Sips helps remove single-use plastic from the oceans by promoting the use of reusable cocktail straws. This is like a tentacle straw or a Cthulhu straw. Call it what you want.
Nice.
But I'm going to ask a question. The first person to get it right in the comments will get to take home this straw. This is a weird question. It's a hard question, but it's a Halloween question because it's Halloween. Happy Halloween. What state in the United States produces the most pumpkins?
Ooh.
You can guess. You can make multiple guesses. But the first person to guess it correctly, which state in the United States produces the most pumpkins, will get to take home this straw.
I'm going to say Illinois.
Are you open to commissions?
Always. I love doing commission. I mean, that's where it all comes from is, people hit me up. I mean, the doing like actual commissions as far as like the company that releases them, that started, months back. But originally it was just private. Somebody say, hey, work on this, work on that.
So if people get a mug and it seems a little plain, but they'd love the sculpt, they can send it to you and you'll vandalize that mug.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually really surprised, when I started collaborating with some of these, these outfits that drop these mugs, I love doing stuff with Tiki Traders, Tiki Maniacs. They always come up with cool stuff, and it's like they never send me a dull mug photo. It's like, hey, we're coming out with this one. I'm like, oh my god, I got to work on that.
Want to do it?
Yeah, it's just like you start salivating. That would look so cool. Best example of that the Witch Doctor. It was just when I saw that one, I'm like, I gotta mess on one of those. I think it started out. I think it started out with one mug. Like, hey, can you do one for me? And then later on, they were like, hey, you want to do 12?
So next time it's gonna be like, hey, you want to do 500?
I'm one man. I'm just one man.
Let's see, if it takes a couple days per mug, 500 mugs, you could do that in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, this should be out by Judgment Day.
We'll take pre-orders.
Pre-orders, yeah.
We did have someone get it correct at Howling Coffin with a K. The state that produces the most pumpkins in the United States is Illinois. So congratulations, you're getting to take home this Surfside Sips Cthulhu Tentacle Straw.
Oh, it is Illinois? Oh,
Yep.
Wow. I muttered it out, but I was just saying that because, that's where Halloween, the movie, takes place.
Nope, it's right. And it's not even like a close second. Like, they are double the next contender. For whatever reason, they have huge amounts of pumpkins.
When I said that, you were probably like, dope.
Just waiting for someone to get it. I saw some photos on your Instagram that I want to ask you about. They looked really cool. I'm a huge fan of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
You did a Twilight Zone inspired piece?
Yeah. It's a big piece. It's about the size of a door. It was on canvas, and it was for a Twilight Zone tribute show that I was a part of. God, it's been a few years back now. But it took place in Old Town Puente at a gallery called the Rit Gallery. And on that street is actually where they filmed a scene from one of the Halloween sequels. Yeah, the whole theme of the show was Twilight Zone. And, they said, hey, do you want to be a part of this show? And I was like, Yeah,
Yeah, I
absolutely
want to be
love
a
the
part of
Twilight Zone.
that.
So like I said, my buddy was like, "Hey, you got to go bigger. You got to work with paint, whatever." Um, so I went to buy a canvas for that particular show, and I don't know what came over me. I just bought this giant canvas that was the size of like a door. And I mean, what was I thinking? I got to do a piece that big and get it in time for the show. And knock on wood, I got it done. But yeah, it's sold before it was even finished. I
Oh
think
man.
I was like 25% of the way done with it. And a friend of mine who saw a picture, a progress photo that I posted, um, he phones me and he's like, "Hey, I saw that Twilight Zone piece you're working on." And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "How much do you want to sell it for?" I'm like, I just started it. And he goes, "Yeah," but he wanted to buy it for his wife, who's a huge Twilight Zone fan. So, you know, it was sold before it was even finished. So
There's that
it made it to the
confidence again
show.
that people have in your work, dude, where they're willing to just, trust in Faust.
But the sucky part is you agree to sell it when it's 20% done, but when it's 100% done, you don't want to sell
Oh,
it.
do you have seller's remorse about anything?
Do I have what?
Seller's remorse, like you regret
Yeah,
selling
well,
something?
the paintings are kind of like your kids.
Yeah.
You get so attached to them that when somebody says, "Hey, I want to buy that one," and I'm willing to pay what you want for it, it's like, ugh, all
I need to
right,
go up a little more.
yeah,
I have
yeah,
16 other offers. What are you willing to do?
right, yeah, yeah, but yeah, it was a fun piece. It was big. It was fun. I got to cram as many of the episodes into that one piece as I could. And I don't know if you noticed, I actually make a cameo on that painting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a
How?
there's a scene. There's a one of the episodes which was I think I was kind of like bagging on myself. There's one scene that's the Eye of the Beholder episode. With the
Okay.
with the characters with the pig faces, the doctor and the nurse. And in the original episode, the doctor unwraps the girl's hair, the bandages off her face because um they try to do surgery on her to make her look normal. But obviously on their planet it was the pig face was normal. Um
Yep.
and she holds up the mirror to her face and there's no change. She still looks like one of us, all beautiful and stuff. And she's screaming because to her it's ugly. But I put myself in the mirror that he's holding up. I did a quick,
I did not notice that.
yeah. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. But once I point it out, they're like, I can't unsee it now.
You also had pieces in Beetle House.
The Beetle House in Hollywood, the Tim Burton Beetle House.
How did that
Um,
come about?
I was there one night and I got to meet the manager at the time. He's not there now. And I was actually talking to the bartender. I was having drinks at the bar, and I was showing him some work, and he introduced me to the house manager, and I said, I got a big giant canvas painting that I could bring in if you guys want to hang it in the place. And he's like, "Can you fill up the place?" Like, he wanted me to. And I'm like, "Dude, like, I don't even know how many Tim Burton inspired pieces I've done, but I could look." And I did have a few. So ultimately, I ended up showing up one day during closing hours with like, 16 pieces, and I just hung them throughout the Beetle House, and they were so happy about it. So they've been there. It's been years. It's still there. They've actually
That's
changed
so cool.
locations, and it's still there. Yeah, it was fun, man. I mean, I get a lot of tags on those.
Oh, from people like going to the bar.
Right? Yeah, people taking selfies at the bar, and um, I think there used to be like a thing that would show my Instagram, so people started tagging me and saying, I'm at the Beetle House in front of this piece, and it was fun. It was cool.
Look at this Faust.
Yeah,
I love it, dude. We are
yeah.
officially running on overtime, but
Oh,
man, it's Halloween.
time flies when you're having fun.
Time flies when you're having fun. It's my favorite time of the year, and I got to spend it with Faust.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining me, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It was fun.
We got to give away a crazy Club 33 snake mug vandalized by Faust.
Did somebody win that already?
Yep. So I pulled the winner. We're going to announce it.
Cool. It's on its way to you. It's out there in the mail land.
I'm kind of like excited to see it, but also like I kind of don't want to look at it because like
It's like
I'm
that
gonna look
Twilight
at
Zone
it
thing,
and then
right?
box it up and send it to someone else, and it's like, man.
It's going to be like the Twilight Zone situation. Once you get it, you're like, I don't know if I want to get rid of it.
Yep. Maybe I won't open it. Maybe I'll just take the box and put it in a bigger box.
Did we say a Cobra mug? We meant one of those little plastic Cobras from downtown LA. Those $3 toys.
Yep. It'll show up. It'll be something totally different. You pulled the wool over my eyes. You sent me like some ridiculous thing. One of your
It's coming, man. They'll be there.
Someone's going to get a mug. The person that's going to get the mug is going to be Caroline Hutcherson. So
Congratulations, Caroline.
Happy Halloween. That's got to be
Happy Halloween to you guys.
Halloween gift.
And happy Halloween to everybody out there. Be safe.
What are you going to do now? You going to watch some horror
drink.
movies?
Drink and hang out with my girl.
You going to drink?
Have dinner.
I don't blame you, dude. Well, actually, you're in California, so it's not that late. It's 10 here.
I'm going to hunt down trick-or-treaters outside the door and scare them.
You don't have trick-or-treaters.
We'll find some. I'm at my girlfriend's house tonight, so my block is pretty empty, but it's a little more active around here.
Why don't you borrow your mother's van?
Right? Maybe I got time to go throw on a mask.
Drive around, play some music.
That's like a PTSD, right?
Yeah.
Like, why are you putting your legs up?
Oh, my Lord.
Oh.
It's been so good, dude. Don't be a stranger. I'd love to chat with you more, obviously.
Definitely.
You make amazing mugs. Anyone, if you're out there, where do they follow you?
Mostly on Instagram. There's Facebook, but yeah. Instagram me, Facebook me. It's all good.
And your
I love hearing from people.
Is there
on 176.
So Faust 176.
Yeah.
Follow Faust 176. If you got a mug, you want to take it to the next level, message him. He will trick it out. He will vandalize it. And thank you so much, man. Happy Halloween.
Thank you so much. Search for Tiki. You guys take care.
You too. Have a good night.
Good night.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.